Hello students and friends, welcome to my English Teach channel. In this channel you can learn grammar and prose and poem of any classes CBSE portions. So subscribe my channel and keep watching my channel. I am CL Swami, English teacher. So in this channel, in this video, I am going to teach you the chapter Around the World in 80 Days. Class 7 CBSE. So before that, I want to introduce the characters of this story. The hero of this story, Phillips Fogg and James Foster, he was the servant to Phillips Fogg and Passepartout new servant Frenchman, and Andrew Stewart, an engineer, and Raphael, one of the director of the Bank of England. So this story around these characters, and let us what happened in this story. So before that, I want to introduce the author of this story. And Jules Gabriel Verne is the writer of this story, and 1828 to 1905 he lived in England. He was a French novelist, poet and playwright. He is often referred to as the father of modern science fiction because he used to write modern fiction, science fiction stories and adventure novels. Because he wrote a new kind of novel, one of that combined scientific fact with adventure. His most successful novels are Journey to the Center of the Earth, which was published in the year 1864, and the second novel, From the Earth to the Moon, in the year 1865, published. The next one, Around the World in 80 Days. Our novel story is taken from this story only, which 1873 published. And 20,000 Language Under the Sea, also very famous novel of his, which was published in the year 1869. So this story, Around the World in 80 Days, adapted from the story Around the World in 80 Days novel. So the one part has given to us to study. Let us discuss about this story, what describes and what we get from this story. Usually, we plan many things, but we fail to do the things which we planned according to the timetable or our plan. So this story helps us to learn how to plan perfectly and what are the struggles will come and how to tackle it. So this story, the bet from friends or bet among the friends, and the hero of this story, Fogg, how he won this bet or not, that we are going to discuss in this story. Let us go into the story. Around the world. In the year 1872, Phillips Fogg went to the Reform Club. So this Reform Club is one of the club which was in England, and he goes to this club every day. He left his home at 11:30, and in the morning walked to the club. He had lunch and his dinner, read the newspapers, and he played cards. He walked back home, went to the bed at midnight. Actually, this character, the hero of this story, Phileas Fogg, is a man who is a very perfect. He want to be perfect, and he goes to 11:30 a.m. to the Reform Club, and he reads and plays and had lunch, everything in this club, and he come back to the home at midnight and go to the bed. This is what the regular duty of this Phileas Fogg. And Phileas Fogg was a meticulous and an emotional man. So unemotional man. He never or he not worry about anything. He didn't talk much, but everything in his life had to be right. His bathing water had to be at 31 degrees Celsius, not 30 degrees Celsius and not 32 degrees Celsius. Look at this is perfectness. For example, he want to take the bath, the the hot water level should be 31 degrees Celsius, means it has to be 31 degrees Celsius. If it is 30 or 32, he never expect. So his servant James Forrest, his servants dared to do that, so he had to go out. So the servant James Forrest, he never do these things. He miss the perfectness. That's why the Fogg sent him out. And the Phileas Fogg got a new servant. He said, "My name is Jen Passepartout." Jen Passepartout. The second new servant name is Jen Passepartout, because in French, a passepartout means a master key that can open every door. The meaning of that name, the servant name, the meaning of servant name is master key that can open every door. I can get out of anything. That is the meaning of that French word. Yeah. Fogg asked him to introduce himself. So this new servant introduced his character and quality, everything like this. "I am a good man. I can do a lot of different jobs. And I was a fireman in Paris. But I left French and came to England for a quiet life. The people say that you are the quietest man in the Britain, so I want to work for you." So the servant introduced himself. He was a fireman and he can do anything for him. And he heard about Fogg. The people said Fogg is the quietest man. So he was impressed and he want to work for the Fogg. With these words, Fogg put on his hat and went out. So he went out. That evening, the man at the Rome Reform Club talked about the newspaper story about the thief who had taken 55,000 pounds from the Bank of England. They were talking about this theft story which came in the newspaper. One of the men at the card table means where the people are playing cards, no, on the table, was the Katir Raphael. So Raphael is one of the directors of Bank England. He said that the thief will caught where we will go. Where he will go? There are best detectives at every part. They have his descriptions. They will find him. So there is Raphael is one of the director of bank in England. He said where this fellow will go, that a thief will go. There are so many good detectives and finest detectives are there. They will definitely catch them. This was discussed by the club members. While they are talking about this matter, the hand steward, an engineer, expressed his doubt. So, what he expressed this doubt means he is asking something. That Andrew asked that, well, but where can he fly? Where can he fly? For example, this thief can fly somewhere, no? So it is impossible to find him, no? So he asked this doubt. And no country is safe for him. Even if we fly to another country, even if go to another country, it is not safe for them. So this idea told by Andrew Stewart. And where could he go then? Again the Raphael asked. Oh, I don't know that the world is big enough, said Stewart. The Stewart said that the world is big, very big. He can go anywhere else, so it's very impossible to find him. This was the idea of Stewart. It was once the Philip spoke in a low tone, very low tone, silently. What do you mean by once? That Stewart said, the world is very big. So the Philippines folk asked, what do you mean by once? Has the world grown smaller? Or said Stewart. Suddenly the Stewart says, the world is small. Certainly, Rolf agreed with Mr. Fogg. The world has grown smaller. The world is smaller since a man can go around it 10 times quickly than a 100 years ago. So 100 years ago, the man can go 10 rounds around the world, and that is why the search for this thief will be more likely to succeed. So this is what the ideas of Rolf. But the next, what is happening? You have a strange way, Rolf. Strange way means there is another way. Of in 80 days, suddenly the Phileas forecast in 80 days how it is. It is true, gentlemen, added Sullivan, added John, a banker, he is also one of the banker. Only 80 days now that the section between the Rothal and Allahabad on the Great Indian Peninsula Railway has been opened. Here is the estimate made by the Daily Telegraph. So, in India, they introduced railways. So, because of the railway, they had some daily graph how this the way goes and where is the connected around the world. We sometimes think that there is no connection between the countries or continents, but it is not true. We have a connection. We have a connection between the countries and the continent. We can go around. So below the graph in the year 1862 somewheres, the graph says that there is a connection between the countries. That let us discuss what it is. Students, look at this picture, the graph from London to Sue via Mont and Cannes End. So this graph, it's very clear about the connections. For example, Brindisi by a rail steamboat 7 days, and from Soos to Bombay by steamer 13 days, from Bombay to Calcutta by rail 3 days, and from Calcutta to Hong Kong by steamer 13 days, and from Hong Kong to Yokohama, Japan by steamer 6 days, from Yokohama to San Francisco by steamer 22 days, and from San Francisco to New York by rail 7 days, from New York to London by steamer and rail 9 days. So totally 18 days was calculated to around the world by Rolf Folk. So this telegraph helps us to do the good plan. So this is what the plan idea put by the Folk to around the world. The next thing is, I don't believe this, said Rolf. Rolf says that I don't believe this, whether it is could be a successful or what. It will take not less than 3 months. Not less than 3 months. The discussion continued. Finally, the Philippines folk decided to bet on it. Yes, I will around the world within 3 months, within 30 days, within 80 days, he says. And Felicia folks, 5 friends, the bet between 5 friends. Each person will pay you 4,000 pounds, so totally 20,000 pounds. When we see you again here in the Reform Club in 80 days at the end of your journey, you have to pay 20,000 pounds to us. This is what the bet. This is the main bet. Okay, within 80 days, if Rolf failed to round the world, he has to pay 20,000 pounds to the friends. If he win, the friends, 4 friends, has to pay 20,000 pounds to folk. So this is what the bet given by the friends among them. And Fleece folk thought for a minute, as today is Wednesday, the 2nd of October. The 2nd of October he start the journey. I shall be due in London in this very room of Rolf Club on Saturday 21st of December. So the next 80 days after 21st of December at a quarter before 9 p.m. So before 9 p.m. he promised he could be in the Reform Club. As soon as possible, the folk went straight up to his room and called his servant Passepartout. We start for Dover and Clares in 10 minutes. He said he want to go there, and bustled again over the pastor's round face. Suddenly what happened? Where are you going? The servant was shocked, and clearly he had not comprehended his master. He don't know. Suddenly he comes. Suddenly he asked to get up and ready. We have to go there. We have to go Dover and Clares. So he was very confused and confused also. And then they started to journey and they leave the home. And written Philip's book, we are going around the world. Then the master folk informed to the servant, we are going to round the world. And Passepartout opened wide his eyes, very shocked, and raised his eyebrow and held up his hands and steamed about the collapse. So overcome was he with stun-filled astonishment. He was very shocked. What are you telling? In 80 days, Mr. Fox says, in 80 days we have to complete this journey. He was very astonished. Then Fogg and Passepartout started their epic journey from London and travelled eastward. Which side? Eastward, and finally reached America. Now read about the rest of the adventure. So now we can discuss. They reached America and they finished around the world one round. While traveling, what were the difficulties and problems they faced in some other places and climate also, that we will discuss now. Philippus, a Fogg and a Passepartout got on the train at San Francisco. They had to board a ship from New York to Liverpool on 11th December. Okay, so on the first day at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the Passepartout looked out of the window and saw hundreds of buffaloes. They walked in front of the train, and train had to stop. Some people on the train were angry because the train had to stop on a hot day. But Phyllis's folks sat quietly and waited for 3 hours till the buffaloes moved slowly across the railway and the train could start again. The buffalo was in front of the train, so the train couldn't move, the train has to be stopped. So in this situation the fog was very silent because he planned correctly, and if anything struggle or if anything obstacle come, definitely they miss the plan and they definitely beyond the timing and dates, so they couldn't complete. So he was very tensed and being very quiet. You can see this picture very clearly. This shows that the train is there and buffaloes are in front of the track and in front of the engine, so that the train couldn't move. The next morning, so Indians, so this is the pronunciation, so Indians, okay, Sioux, not Sioux, so Indians attacked the train. They were shooting. They were shooting. Passport looked out of the window. The Indians, armed with the guns, were on fast horse. Their intention was to rob the passengers, but many of the train had gone. They had a guns and they fought. The passengers had a gun and they fought. Actually, these Indians were the tribals, and they want to rob the train and passengers. And the Indian killed the train driver, but was unable to stop the train, and also the train near to the station, but they don't know how to operate this train, how to stop this train. In this situation, the servant Paspetro helped, and he moved under the train and reached the engine, and he stopped the train, and the train engine stopped at the station. The station name is Fort Carnier. So when the train stopped, all the Indians, they ran away because they were the soldiers or an army force were and police were there, and they ran away. So this was happened. So Indians ran away, but they took 3 people from the train, and Passepartout was one of 3. And Phyllis Fogg decided to get him back. The captain gave Fogg 30 soldiers, and they went after the Indians. As Fogg left, the sky grew dark and it started to snow. The Phileas Fogg and the 30 soldiers did not come back that day, same day, or the next night, and the train left without them. So the Fogg left the train. So almost he beyond the time, he beyond the planning. By the time the 30 soldiers and Phileas reached the station, Fort Kearney, with the Passepartout and the 2 other people, they required people. The train had left, but the train had left. The next train was the evening, and that too was running late. The foe was now 20 hours beyond the schedule. 20 hours beyond the schedule to reach and around the world. They had no way to reach New York by train before their ship. Actually, they planned to get the ship in the New York, but between the way they stuck here because of this Indian attack. The China left. How would Phileas Fogg win his bet? This is what the situation. Almost he was 20 hours back. Nothing could get him to London by 21st century. So before that, he don't get anything. In New York, Phileas Fogg looked around the port for the fast ship. He want get a fast travel and fast ship. He wanted to buy one now. He decided to buy one because if he wait for the passenger ship, definitely it could late. Again, it make very late. And are you leaving New York, Captain? Is asking to someone, Captain. In an hour, said the captain. He was stern and unfriendly man. That captain, unfriendly man. And where are you going? Then captain asked, where are you going? And then Fogg replied, to Bodex. Can you take us with you? The captain asked Bodex. He is going to Bodex. Then Fogg asked, can you take with you? Then what happened? Captain replied, no, I don't take people, I take things from port to port. So actually is the transporter transferring these goods one port to another port. Fast, asked Felicius Fogg, do you take things fast? The folks asked, do you take things fast? Yes, very fast. And will you take me and 3 other people to Liverpool, Captain? Fogg asked. Will you take us and 3 people? What's your name? My name is Speedy, and the answer no, which means that the captain said only the name, the other answer didn't give. No. Then after some time he says that no, I will not take you because I take only the things. So next, Phileas Fogg thought for a minute. Then he said, I can give you $2,000. $2,000 for each person. Now you say, yes. Captain Speedy thought about it, and $8,000 he get. And we were leaving at 9, he said, yes. So finally he agreed to the captain because he are going to get $8,000 of 4 members. And Phileas Fogg and Passepartout were on the ship when it left New York at 9 o'clock. The next day, 30th December, and Phileas Fogg was the captain of the ship because he paying money, no? So that's why he's the captain of the ship, and he ordered to the captain. So dear students, part 1 video is over. We'll continue another video, part 2. This same story we continue because of the time schedules. Keep watching and watch the second part.